Hello everybody and thank you much for watching. This is me, Mr. P. And in this video, we'll carry on setting up Raspberry Pi server to work with my Samsung DeX. And in this episode, I will show you how you can host your own Nextcloud Docker container on your Raspberry Pi server. So let's begin. Before I jump into demonstrating how you can set up the Nextcloud Docker container, I want to basically give you a bit of a backstory. A while back, once Google announced that they're going to start charging for storing your photos, for backing up your photos to the Google Photos cloud service. On that day, basically, I start thinking, okay, I need to find a way to store my photos, my videos, my documents, and everything else as much as possibly like free of charge. So that's how all this started, just by me trying to work it out how to host the Nextcloud. I learned about the Nextcloud, then I learned about the Docker container, and fast forward to today, I have a Proxmox server running, I have 2 Raspberry Pi servers running. So all this pretty much started because I was not prepared to pay Google to backing up my photos. So this is where I end up with this journey. First thing, what we need to do, we need to log in into Raspberry Pi. So I'm going to use a Termux to log into my Raspberry Pi server. By the way, I've done a bit of modifications to my Raspberry Pi server since the last video. Nothing major, just added extra external hard drive, which will make sense in upcoming videos. So I got that one going. So anyway, I opened the Termux, and I'm just going to log in into my Raspberry Pi server using actually not via root. We're going to do via DiaPi. This is the ordinary user for the DiaPi server. So 192.168.168. One thing changed because I redone my Raspberry Pi server is my IP address. It used to be ending with 61, now it's with 60, but pretty much everything else is exactly the same as I left from my previous video. So first thing, Nextcloud, how to start, how to get all this going. Let's open up the Portainer. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Portainer, we set up this, I think, in the previous video or one video before that. I'll leave a link in the description below for you to go and check it out. So anyway, we're going to connect into a Portainer server via Raspberry Pi IP address followed by semicolon 9002. Then username was admin and my chosen password. And here we go. I am inside the Portainer. Portainer basically is a web UI to configure Docker. Obviously, you can go and start configuring Docker setups using the commands like docker ps gives you running containers. Actually, sudo needs to be in the front. For example, sudo docker image ls shows you a list of images that has been downloaded, or you can get the same information using the Portainer. So I'll go into images and I have all the images here. So first thing, obviously, I'll leave that one in. This is basically already downloaded the image just to speed up the process because I don't want to sit here for 10-20 minutes while this is happening. But basically, I'll explain to you what's all this is have to do or how to set this up. So first thing, I'm going to right click and open the next tab. That's why I like the Samsung Internet, as it opens another window. So I have 2 Samsung DeX Internet, Samsung Internet browsers running at the same time. Anyway, so on the right hand side, I'm going to go to Docker Hub or Google for Docker Hub, Google search for Docker Hub. And right now we need to pick what kind of container we're going to run. Well, we're going to run the container, but who's going to be not the host, the creator of the container. And the one I recommend is by the team called Linux server space Nextcloud. So if you search inside the hub.docker.com for Linux space Nextcloud, one of them is going to be this one. So as you can see, it's being pulled over 100 million times. That means that if this container was pulled to someone's server, or the people pulled this container to their servers over 100 million times. So I'm using this since the day I discovered, and it's easy to set up, easy to maintain, and works flawlessly. So if we scroll down on this page, we're going to find the docker-compose file. Docker-compose file is basically, there is a specific file you need to create via terminal to copy paste this command, and it's going to instruct the Docker service on your Raspberry Pi server to initialize this container. But we're not going to go via terminal, we're going to go via Portainer. And that's why we have a Portainer set up, because it's much easier to set up, and I think it's a bit more user-friendly. But obviously, if you want to know how to set up this via terminal, there's a lot of information online for you to go and check it out. So basically, right now, we need to set up the Nextcloud container using Portainer. Right. First thing, we need to give a name to this stack. Inside the Portainer, the stacks is basically the instructions that will be passed to the Docker to set up the container. The name for the stack only needs to be lowercase letters or numbers. You can add any symbols or you can write any capital letters. So just lowercase, I'm going to name it Nextcloud. Now I'm going to select all this text from the right hand side, Control C to copy, go to the left hand side, Control V to paste. And this is the problem straight away with the DeX or more like an Android OS, is that it's annihilates, basically destroys the formatting. So we need to do a bit of our formatting. What I mean by that, you just need to make sure that the thing inside your Portainer stack is exactly the same indentations between the lines and exactly the same amount of lines that you see here. So the Nextcloud needs to be, or service needs to be this way. Then I go Nextcloud, enter and press tab once. Image needs to be 2 tabs, 1, 2. Then I go to container name, press enter, and that needs to be in the same line as the image. I'm going to go to environment and press enter. Okay, that's fine. Go to this tab and just carry on setting up this exactly to be the same in same style as you can see on the right hand side. So I'll be back once I've done all that. So I'm done sorting the stack instructions. So as you can see, it's pretty much it's exactly the same style what I see inside the docker.hub or hub.docker website. So you need to make sure that space is exactly the same. So this is, for example, 2 spaces. Next one needs to be 4 spaces. And then this one is 6 spaces. So 2, 4, 6, and etc. So once you get all that done, we need to right now set up a couple of things inside the Raspberry Pi server. First thing, actually, let's go from the top. So the stack will basically instruct the Docker to create a service by the name of Nextcloud and use this image. So it's going to go to the hub.docker.com and look for this image. This is the unique URL that Linux server people using to go and check their server for most up-to-date Docker image that is compatible with my server, which will be ARM64. If I go to tags, as you can see, there's AMD64, ARM version 7, and ARM64. So it's going to just pull ARM64 as I'm using Raspberry Pi 4 with 8GB model. Container name, Nextcloud. This is where you can use the capital letters if you want. So you can say something like Nextcloud and Next start with capital N and Cloud with capital C. PUID and PGID is 1000. And that basically is, if I go back to Termux, I'm going to write ID dietpi. It's going to tell me ID dietpi. It's going to tell me that dietpi username, user ID is 1000 and user group is 1000. So that's why we're using this one, 1000 here. TZ basically stands for time zone. So I live in United Kingdom. So it's Europe and London. Now there's a volumes. I need to create a 2 volume links between the container and the Raspberry Pi server. So first one is path to app data. Okay, so let's go to this. App data is basically where the container will store their configuration files. Usually I store that inside the dietpi user folder. To navigate to that, I'm going to use cd mount ssd dietpi. It all depends how you set up following my first, second, and third video, I do believe, or only first and second. That's why I'm using the mount ssd. So if I'm going to go and list content in here, I have a folder, but the name is called Docker. I created the folder just before the video, but creating a folder is very easy. You just write mkdir and just write test or whatever folder you want to name it. And as you can see right now, I have a folder test123. So I'm just going to remove that. I'm going to cd into a Docker. And right now the Docker folder that I created is empty. So I need to create a folder inside called Nextcloud App Data, like this. cd Nextcloud App Data. PWD will give me basically like a shortcut, like a URL kind of thing, a location where I am at the moment. So I'm going to left click and hold and choose copy. Go inside my Portainer, which is this one, and delete everything before semicolon, like this, and Control V to paste. So I'm telling the Portainer or Docker that whatever is inside the config file folder inside the container needs to be mapped to the local host location, which is mount ssd dietpi user data, Docker, and Nextcloud App Data. And now there is a folder data. The folder data is where Nextcloud will store everything, all the users, files, photos, and etc. So that needs to go onto external hard drive, because if you're going to use this a lot and you're going to keep using it, obviously the amount of stuff you're going to put in there will increase. Like my current Nextcloud server I'm using is about 1.2 terabytes storage in there between me and my missus, all the photos and files. So I need to move that to external. So I'm going to go back into the Termux and cd into mount ssd dietpi user data, external, and then drive. And inside here right now I have a server dash backup. Why I have this folder I already explained, and I showed you how to set up server backup, author backup in a couple, I think one previous video or one before that. Anyway, we need to create a folder, mkdir Nextcloud Data. I'm going to name this way. And if I'm going to go inside, I'm going to write pwd to have a link or the URL. Let's call it URL to this location. I will copy that, go inside the container, and then I'm just going to delete all that and press Ctrl V to paste. And right now I have mapped folder successful. So I'm telling the Docker where I want the config file to be mapped and where I want a data file to be mapped. Then the port 443 is HTTPS or SSL connection to the server. I'm going to leave this as 443. That's fine. It's just going to shout at me every time that I'm trying to connect to this Nextcloud from any of my local machines that this connection is unsecure, but it's just me connecting from one local machine to another local machine. So it doesn't matter. And in upcoming videos, I'll show you how you can set up very secure connection to this Nextcloud from anywhere in the world. And that is upcoming video. And restart unless stopped basically is telling the Docker that this container needs to be always up and running unless me as the user, as the admin, basically telling stop it. If it stops by some errors or something, it needs to try to restart this container as soon as possible. So just double check. We have version, service, Nextcloud, image, container name, environment, volumes, port, etc. And right now, if I'm going to press deploy the stack, the instructions will happen like it's going to go and try to pull this image. Once the image is pulled, it's going to start creating the container. That's why I have the image already downloaded just to speed this up. So I'm just going to say deploy the stack. And right now, it's just doing a quick check. It's found that the image that I already downloaded is up to date. So straight away it's created. With your setup, if you don't have image already downloaded, it might take up to 5 minutes or so to get all this done. And by the way, it all depends on your broadband speed, as it's going to have to pull the container first before setting up the container image first before setting this up. Anyway, I am inside the stacks. I'm going to click on Nextcloud. Inside the Nextcloud, I can see that it's linked to one container by the name of Nextcloud. And if I click on this paper icon, it's going to tell me what's happening inside the terminal, inside the Nextcloud Docker container. So it's telling us that it's at 30, 40, 40, at 50%. So once all this is done, at the end, it's just basically going to say one word, done. And when we see that, we can successfully log in to this Nextcloud. So I'll be back when all this initiation of first install process is done. Here we go. The first install process is done. At the end, I see that it's done. Then it's starting service, and that's it. It means Nextcloud is running. So right now, how we can get to this? If I go to a container and this is the port ID or port number, if I click on that, it's going to open a new tab. It's going to say, ooh, bad. Okay, fine, no problem. I just delete that. Go at the start, I'm going to type https //192.168 followed by IP address of the Raspberry Pi. Press enter. It's going to tell me, oh, hold on, your connection is not private. That's fine. It's just, I'm connecting from a Samsung DeX, literally 1 meter away to Raspberry Pi server. So it's definitely, I know it's me and it's fine with the security. So right now, the first initializing setup. So this is where you set up your admin account. So username obviously is going to be Mr. P and a password will be subscribe. It says weak. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So apparently subscribe is a weak password, but this is what you need to do. If you enjoy this video, just subscribe to my channel. This is what I do here. Just messing around with Samsung DeX. Back to the video. I have my username and a password created. Under storage and database, it's telling me data folder is called data. That's why we mapped the inside of container. If I go to this Nextcloud, I should show here under volumes. Here we go. Data is been mapped to a Nextcloud data. That is fine. I can quickly double check what's happening in here. At the moment, there is 2 files created inside Nextcloud Data, so it's about to start setting up the first user. Let's go back to this. I'm going to say fine, and I'm using SQLite as if I'm going to use, for example, MySQL, MariaDB, or Postgres SQL. I will need to have my separate server running of SQL, etc. It gets messy. But I've been using, like I said, I've been using this with my main Nextcloud instance for about over 8-10 months or so. And I'm always using SQL. It's only 2 people connect to this Nextcloud. It's me and my missus. Well, most of the time it's only me who connects. My missus is more worried just to make sure that the photos are getting backed up. So SQLite is fine if you're using up to like 5 users, 10 users, even more. So data and SQLite is fine. I have a username, I have a password. I'm just going to click install. And right now, the container is setting up my first user, which is going to have admin privileges, admin access to a Nextcloud setup. So while this is happening, I can go back into this. I'm going to say ls. As I can see, there is more and more files being added. So right now I have 6. I have more. I have a folder Mr. P. That's where the user account folders has been created. So this is still going. This takes up to half a minute, up to sometimes a minute. Again, it depends how fast your Raspberry Pi is. This is where you can set up, install the recommended apps like email, Nextcloud Office, etc., etc. I'm just going to say cancel. I don't want all this. I just want to back up my files, photos, and videos. And here we go. Good evening. I have logged in, and splash screen, just giving you a bit of information what Nextcloud is all about. Just click through and say start using Nextcloud. Under customization, one thing I like to do is just turn all this off and just leave weather on. Maybe change the background. And under weather, I'm just going to quickly select Cardiff. This is the town where I live. So loading, and right now, come on. Trying to pull, here we go. So it's cloudy at, I don't think it's a midnight, mate. It's actually 7:30. Anyway, I just set up the weather. Whoopie-doo. If I go to top left and click on the files, I will be presented with basically similar to what you get with Google Drive or OneDrive or any other cloud storage device. It's cloud storage services, similar layout. So I have a folder structure or information on the left. I can go between dashboard, files, photos, activity, and this is the files that Nextcloud generates for every new user you create. So let's say I'm going to create a folder, gonna say, let's say subscribe. And I'm just going to select all of them and take this, click and hold and drag that into subscribe. Whoop, and they're all moved in here. If I go to a Termux and I'll list it, 4 files and folders, I have a folder here, Mr. P. I will CD or change directory to Mr. P. Inside here, I'll see a folder named files. So let's change directory to files and list that. I have a folder called subscribe, which one I just created. So I have the Nextcloud running. Fantastic. Now, how to connect my Galaxy phone, and more specifically Galaxy, the phone inside the Samsung DeX, or this app inside Samsung DeX, which is called Nextcloud. This app is available for free inside the Google Play Store. So I'm going to click on login. I have 2 options. I can enter server IP address or scan it. If, for example, you have your Samsung DeX setup done in this way, that you have quite lengthy cable or scan the barcode or QR code, then I can log in straight away without entering password and the username. So if you want to do that, you click on the top right hand corner on your avatar icon under settings, wait for that to load. Inside the security on the top left, add app name. So I'm going to call it Mr. P-fold free, create. And right now it's created the unique password and username. I click show QR code for mobile app. This is a QR code. And like I said, if you have your Galaxy device set up that you can move your Galaxy device quite far away from the actual USB-C hub, you click on this icon. And right now you should see what my fold free back camera can see. So as you can see, there's Avia Media capture card. So I just bring that up and scan this QR code. It automatically logs in. Obviously mine's inside the Samsung DeX, the 1st gen dock. So I just click back. And right now I'm just going to type HTTPS //192.168.178.60. And I say, I want to log into this server. It's going to say, oh, this is like no SSL assigned. It's a weird address. The app expected to have domain like mrp.co.uk or something like that. I'm going to say, yeah, that's fine. Assign this self-assigned trusted certificate. Yes, I'm happy for this app to connect to the server. Right now, I'm just going to enter the password and the username and the password I created for this user. I'm going to say login. Samsung Pass, I don't want to say that. It's asking, are you fine? I'm going to say, yeah, grant access. And boom, it's loading. And this is my subscribe folder. So if I go back to here, open the app again. So I'm going to say, add a new folder. I'm going to say DeX. Create. That's created. And if I move that away, refresh the page, here we go. I have a DeX here. So how to back up photos, or how to make this app to back up photos automatically. I need to click back until I see the hamburger menu. Click on that and go on to settings. Inside the settings, select auto upload. And right now you have a camera with like a video camera icon, which means videos, and you have a screenshots. And if I click on these 3 dots, I'm going to say configure. And in here, I'm going to turn that on. I can use the default folder location, which is instant uploads /camera. I can change that. Let's say I want to upload that inside the folder called DeX. I'm going to say choose that. So it's changed to remote folder called DeX. Only upload on unmetered Wi-Fi. I'll leave that by default, just in case if I'm going to go somewhere and then I'm going to get charged for every gigabyte I upload. Only upload when it's charging. Yes, I don't want my phone to basically get the phone's battery killed just because I'm uploading a bunch of photos. So I'm always ticking to make sure that the photo is getting backed up when my phone is getting charged. Also upload the existing files. I untick that because I just don't want my phone try to re-upload the same files again when I'm connecting to a Wi-Fi or my phone is charged, or when it's connected to a Wi-Fi and is charging. Use subfolders. This is very useful. Once I downloaded every single photo I ever uploaded to Google Photos server, I noticed that Google stored all my photos inside the folders by the year and then folders by the month. So this app does exactly the same thing and I like it. So I'm using this use subfolder. That means that it's going to create a folder like, for example, 2022, and it's going to be inside, it's going to say March or 03. And I'll leave like this. Original files will be, keep an original file, move to app folder or delete. So let's say if you're running low on your phone storage, but you want to back up your photos, this app will delete every single photo once it gets backed up. My Fold 3 has 512 gigabyte storage, internal storage, and I think I used only 20% or something. I'm fine to keep originals. So I'm going to say keep original. And what to do if the files already exist, I'm going to say rename it. For example, if you have the photo you uploaded to Nextcloud, but then you edited this photo on your phone or Galaxy tablet, the Nextcloud will try to push the photo again. And when it's noticed that the photo already exists, it's just going to rename to, let's say, I think instead of bracket, it's going to say new version or something like that. So I'm going to say rename to new version. So everything is here. Click save and disable batch optimizations. I tick that off. If I go back and I click on the hamburger menu and click on the uploads, at the moment, nothing's happening because all my photos on my phone is already backed up to my main Nextcloud. So this app already knows that all the photos that I have up to now already backed up. So that's why it's not doing anything. I have like 500 photos on my phone. So what I'll do now, I'm going to run camera app on my phone. Here we go. You can see me. I'm just going to say, yeah, it just took a photo. And right now uploads should start any second. And if I go back and say, here we go. As you can see, it's uploading the photo because it just detected there is a new photo inside the photos folder on my phone. And if I go inside the DeX, I have 2022. Inside here, I have March. And inside here, if I click, here you go. This is my lovely face. Here we go. So this is how backing up the photos automatically to Nextcloud. Similar thing you can do with the screenshots, videos, etc. A similar thing. You just go to settings and auto upload. I will pick up something like, say, something for the camera or screenshot. For example, I'm going to click on that. I'm going to say, yep, I want the screenshots to be backed up. I'm going to click on this. I'm going to say inside the DeX, I want to have a folder by the name of screenshots. Click create. Inside the screenshots, I'm going to say yes, yes, no, subfolders. No, I don't want any subfolders. And ask me every time. That's fine. Click on that. Disable. Click back and then back again. Click on the uploads. And I'm going to click the screenshot inside the Samsung DeX. Screenshot's done. Apps detected. Boom, is already backing up. If I go back to DeX, I have a screenshot folder. And inside here, I have a screenshot that I just took. How to upload the files. If I click inside the app and I go to all files, I click on the plus sign. I can upload the file, upload content from the other app. Let's say I don't know, recorded something with one of the camera apps on the Android. You can share it directly to Nextcloud. Or if I click on that, it's just going to ask me from which app I want to download. Let's say gallery drive. I can move from another folder, etc., etc. And next one is the upload from a camera. So you can take a photo and directly straight away dump that inside your Nextcloud folder, Nextcloud server. Create a folder, create a document, add folder info, etc. So that's what's happening. Let's say you want to download the file from this, and this is the way it sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. So we're gonna try now. Let's say this is the photo I want to have always downloaded or have like offline copy. I click download, and now there's a green tick here, and that means that the file has been downloaded inside this weird folder. If I go inside here, media, Nextcloud client, this is the one I'm using, DeX, screenshot. And as you can see, there is a folder created with this name. If I try to click on this, it's not going to do anything. What I need to do actually is go to Android, Media, look for Nextcloud, which is somewhere here, then Nextcloud, my file, my server address, DeX, screenshots, and that's where I end up. So what usually I do with this kind of, instead of clicking through all these folders, I click on the star and just add this inside my favorites. So if I click on this, I straight away jump into this location. So if I go here, it just shows me this. Subscribe has nothing in it, or actually it has a couple of files and folders. Let's say I want this to be downloaded. I'm going to say, yep, I want this to be downloaded via app, not via website. Let's go inside the subscribe. And let's say I want this to be downloaded. Download. So let's say you have a PDF documents you want to prepare yourself for a meeting, or some like any documents, and they exist on the Nextcloud, but you're not sure if in a conference room you will have a Wi-Fi. Go, folder is created on the side. Let's move that in. Click on this, and this is a video where you can watch and see what the Nextcloud is all about. So this is how you set up Nextcloud. I already set up at least 20 instances of the Nextcloud for myself and for my friends, and works absolutely amazing. Like I said, I have this running for about over almost a year, I think now, or maybe more, and it's never failed me. And even once they say Docker, your server fails, you have a backup of your photos, because the photos are being stored on your external hard drive connected to your Raspberry Pi server. So Raspberry Pi dies in the next 5 minutes. I have a hard drive of all the photos, and I can back the photos from the hard drive to somewhere else. And speaking about backing photos from your hard drive to another hard drive or somewhere else, this is why I have another hard drive attached to my Raspberry Pi server with the name backup. And why it's here, I'll explain in upcoming videos, because this is the way I set up. I'm not saying it's perfect, but I will demonstrate for you how you can make your own something like a RAID kind of thing, where you have a backup of the backup of the backup on two separate external storage devices. That can happen once a night, or overnight, or every 5 minutes. It depends how cron system will be set up, or how you want to run this. Anyway, I'm already recording for quite a lengthy period of time. So Nextcloud on your Raspberry Pi, and I've been using this with the Samsung DeX since day one, and this is amazing. This works fast. It backs up everything, all my photos, videos, and etc. from my Galaxy device. Even right now I'm doing a screen recording using the screen recording app, and as soon as I press stop, it will basically back up straight to Nextcloud, just in case if I just gonna drop my phone and I lose this footage. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this very, very lengthy video. Don't forget to subscribe if you're enjoying to watch these kind of videos where I'm doing stuff on a Samsung DeX, with a Samsung DeX, using Samsung DeX. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.